Little Fox.
The Little Mermaid. Chapter 7. Watching from Afar. At first, the Little Mermaid decided to keep her love for the prince a secret.
I will tell no one,
She thought.
Maybe I will forget about him if I don't speak of him.
But she could think of nothing else. Finally, she told her eldest sister,
I have fallen in love with someone from the upper world.
Oh no!
cried her sister.
Who?
He is a prince,
Said the Little Mermaid.
but I don't know where his kingdom is or where he lives.
Her sister told other sea folk what the Little Mermaid had said. Soon, one mermaid heard the tale and visited the lovesick princess.
I know where he lives,
She told her.
his palace is on a hill just beyond the sea cliffs.
Please take me there.
Begged the Little Mermaid.
We have no legs to walk to his door,
The other mermaid said.
but we can swim to the cliffs. From the high rocks, we can see the little balcony where the prince sometimes stands.
With her guide, the Little Mermaid swam to the cliffs and climbed onto the nearby rocks. From there, she saw a palace built of golden stones. A steep stairway led from the ocean to the palace entrance. And sure enough, on one side of the palace was a balcony.
Oh, maybe I will see him.
Cried the Little Mermaid, peering from behind a rock. She forgot all about her guide, who soon swam away. From that day on, the Little Mermaid visited the cliffs every evening. She sat on a rock and waited for her handsome prince. Once in a while, she caught sight of him, standing alone in the bright moonlight.
Oh, Prince, I long to talk to you,
She said.
but I can't reach you, so I'll sing to you instead.
The Little Mermaid thought the prince would notice her if he heard her voice. In the Sea Kingdom, everyone said she had the sweetest voice of all the mermaids.
My home is in the sea. Your home is in a place I cannot be. But your handsome face is in my heart, and my whole heart is in your hands. Come to me, my prince, come to me.
But he was on land, and she was in the waves. Under the stars, the ocean breeze carried her voice away, too far away to be heard. So she watched him from afar. Some nights, the Little Mermaid would swim to the harbor, hoping to see him on the dock. But most of the time, she saw only fishermen with their nets, talking and laughing.
What a smart and kind young prince.
A fisherman said.
He will make a great ruler someday.
The Little Mermaid thought about her time with the prince as he lay on the shore.
And to think it was I who saved his life.
She shivered with pride and love. The Little Mermaid remembered how she had kissed his eyelids. But the prince knew nothing of what had happened.
I hope he'll learn the truth someday,
She thought wistfully. The Little Mermaid. Chapter 8. Dreaming of the Upper World. With each visit to the upper world, the Little Mermaid grew more unhappy.
The prince's world is so much bigger than mine,
said the mermaid to herself.
Humans can walk on land and sail the seas. Their lives are so exciting, and my life is so boring.
The Little Mermaid thought about how she'd like to live in the upper world rather than the Sea Kingdom. Day after day she sat in her garden alone. Her sisters became worried and went to their grandmother.
Grandmother,
Said the eldest sister,
please talk to the Little Mermaid. Find out why she's so gloomy.
So the wise mermaid went to her grandchild and took the Little Mermaid in her arms.
Sweet one, tell me what is bothering you.
Grandmother,
Said the Little Mermaid.
what happens to humans if they don't drown? Do they live forever?
I told you,
The wise mermaid answered.
they die much sooner than we do, but their souls live forever.
I want a soul too, and I want to live in the upper world.
Your place is here.
Said the wise mermaid.
Believe me, there is no better spot in the world than the Sea Kingdom. We are all very happy here. It is our home.
But I want a soul like my prince, so we can both live forever together.
The Little Mermaid said stubbornly.
You don't need a soul.
Replied the wise mermaid, annoyed.
As a mermaid, you will live for a very long time. And when you die, you will become lovely sea foam. This way, you will remain part of the sea and a part of all of us.
The Little Mermaid pleaded.
Please, Grandmother, tell me how I can get a soul.
The wise mermaid saw that she could not change her granddaughter's mind.
Well, I've heard that a human and a member of the sea folk must marry, she said. Your prince would have to fall in love with you. Then, if he married you, you would become truly human and have a soul.
So all I have to do is marry the prince?
Asked the Little Mermaid hopefully.
I really do not know,
Replied the wise mermaid.
What I have told you is only an old tale. I know of no mermaid who has ever received a soul, or even wanted one. We live very happily without souls.
But the Little Mermaid did not hear her grandmother's words. She was already too busy thinking and making plans.
Grandmother, what must I do to live in the upper world?
She asked.
Forget about such things,
Said the wise mermaid.
You would need legs and feet to live there.
She patted her granddaughter on the head.
Your beautiful tail makes it impossible for you to live on land.
The Little Mermaid looked unhappily at her body and sighed.
I hate my tail.
The wise mermaid shook her head and said,
You are lovely. Now go and play. Stop thinking about the upper world.
The Little Mermaid swam away, but she didn't play. She thought,
There must be some way to fulfill my dream. Someone must have the knowledge I need. Maybe I'll ask the Sea Witch for help.
The Little Mermaid. Chapter 9. The Journey to Gooba. The Sea Witch lived at the edge of a dark place called Gooba. Its swirling waters were known to swallow up all kinds of creatures. Most sea folk were afraid to swim near it. They'd heard scary stories about curious mermaids who swam too close to Gooba and never returned home.
Grandmother told me about the home of the sea witch when I was small.
The little mermaid thought as she swam along.
But it can't be that awful. Stop, Princess!
A small fish suddenly cried out.
Do not go to that terrible place. Don't worry, little fish,
said the little mermaid. Then she thought to herself,
the sea witch will grant my wish. I just know she will.
The lovesick mermaid swam on and entered the gloomy realm of the sea witch.
This place is as ugly as the sea kingdom is beautiful,
she said to herself. Instead of gleaming white sand, the seafloor here was dark and slimy. Mud seeped from every hole and every crack.
Where are the sea flowers?
Wondered the little mermaid.
Where is the seaweed?
Get out of Gooba, princess, hissed a snake from the mouth of a cave.
Who's that?
Asked the frightened mermaid. The snake vanished into the darkness of the cave. All of a sudden, the little mermaid saw twirling cones of water, twisting this way and that. The cones were swallowing up everything within reach. Anything that became caught in the churning water was sucked down into the mud.
I am not afraid,
she said to herself.
My strong tail can take me around the danger easily.
And she swam around each cone of whirling water in her path. Next, she came to a muddy forest of thin trees with bony branches. Each long branch had twigs that moved like fingers, grabbing anything nearby. The trees' sticky fingers held fish bones and pieces of wood from sunken ships. The skeletons of drowned sailors hung from the tree branches.
Oh dear,
thought the little mermaid.
The trees never let go of their victims.
Terrified, she stopped.
I don't think I can do this,
she cried. Her little heart thumped with fear and she almost turned back. But then she remembered her prince.
For the sake of my love,
she thought,
I must go on.
Before she entered the forest, the mermaid braided her flowing hair close to her head. Then she darted through the water like a nimble fish. The slimy branches stretched out their fingers to seize her, but she was too fast. They could not catch her. Finally, she reached a clearing in the sea forest. Fat worms stood guard and long snakes slithered about. The little mermaid saw a shack built of bones. The sea witch was sitting in front, picking her teeth with a seashell. With her tangled hair and beady eyes, she looked horrifying. At her feet sat a dozen pet frogs, croaking at her.
Welcome, little mermaid. I was expecting you,
said the sea witch.
And I know why you are here. You want to be a human. What a very foolish idea.
Then the sea witch began to laugh.